Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe with episode 27, My Italy's Holocaust, looking at films from 1979 to 1994. This one in particular, Umberto Lenzi's, put asterisks around that, we'll get to that, Nightmare Beach from 1989, one of the rare films I have on my shelf that's not covered in Jim Harper's Italian horror reference guide. I'm not sure why he didn't cover it, but I thought I'd do it anyways. It's definitely worth highlighting and pointing out. Umberto Lenzi, an asterisk or on that, huge question as to whether did he direct this? How much did he direct it? How much was James Justice? Harry Kirkpatrick, I think, is a synonym that is used. And so Sam Dagan, who does the film historian, who does the commentary track on this, goes to some pretty far length in discussing this question of who directed, and makes a compelling argument that in the end, at the end of the day, this probably is Lenzi's film more than that, or Rambaldi too, the writer, and she goes into a big deep history dive of probably it is a Lenzi Rambaldi film, although James Justice does get some directing credit. And Primal Rage, I think, is the film that will come right after this, where many of these people are involved in. In fact, James Justice, I think, might even directed that. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, and so basically what's going on here is you have, and it's sort of, it's at the end of the slasher craze, the 80s slasher craze, down on, it's spring break time. In fact, the film was known as Welcome to Spring Break. Of course, you know, we know it as Nightmare Beach. One John Saxon, Michael Parks. It's actually got a really good cast in this thing. But even on the cover at the bottom, a film by Umberto Lenzi does get film credit. Of course, on the back side is Harry Kirkpatrick's name as director, probably a pseudonym for Lenzi. But aside from the film itself, well, I'll get into that in a minute. But the basic thing here just going on is it is spring break, man, and you have a lot of moving parts here in here, and some of which doesn't make sense. There is one component to this film that just makes no sense. If you remember Friday the 13th Part 3, we have our kid, the character who loves to play jokes all the time. You have that here, except you have him doing pranks almost throughout the duration of the entire film. Wondering, is this guy ever going to turn up dead, or is he not? John Saxon is a cop, and really is sort of modeled after the template really used more than any other is probably, or at least to a degree, is Jaws. You've got the mayor of this touristy beach area, who does not want anything jeopardized because of the level of tourism. You have the doctor who's being forced to put his stamp on falsified records in terms of what's happening to these people. And of course you got Saxon, John Saxon, really, I guess, is your Brody character, but he's not your moral grounding in here. You've got the police force, the mayor, they're all corrupt. Man, all these people are corrupt. The church is corrupt in this film. There's a biker gang, so-called demons, a little bit of a nod there. In fact, the titling on their leather jackets really does resemble Demons, the film Demons, which is pretty interesting. But you don't have a shark, you have a serial killer. And the film opens ominously with an execution of a leader of Diablo, the leader of this biker gang, this demons biker gang, and for the killing of this girl who is one of the two protagonists in this film, is a girl and a guy. And they both carry a lot of baggage into this. Her loss of her sister and wanting to see justice done, thinking she has seen justice done. And the boy, which is a little goofy, but Skip, he is the reason why his team lost the Orange Bowl. He's a college quarterback. And so they're both sort of coming into here moping around, woe is me, sort of, and yet they both get caught up in the midst of these murders that are taking place. And the word on the street that maybe Diablo has come back from the electric chair to exact some revenge. I think this is supposed to be like a year after the fact, maybe. The timing kind of gets messed up when you're watching the movie. You're not sure exactly how far after the execution. But so think Jaws, think Amity, but here it is spring break. There's a serial killer running amok. We don't know whom it is. The idea is that perhaps this guy is the Diablo. He has come back. Think the horror show, think Shocker, that kind of idea. So this is running idea. Is this sort of a grounded thing, or is it supernatural? And that is sort of what leads you all the way through until the finality resolution of the film, in which, of course, it's revealed. The reveal, I'm not going to get into, that's a pretty good synopsis, I think. So, the biker gang is in there. They've got their grudge against Saxon's character. They believe he's the one. He's the reason why Diablo was arrested and ultimately sent to the electric chair. So the biker gang is sort of this weird part that is just sort of under the surface here and there. They're not really front and center, though they're in it. Spring Break is there front and center, of course. And, you got Skip and Skip's best friend. They're there on Spring Break. His friend will ultimately end up being a victim. And so in his search for his buddy and his having met this girl, I want to say Sarah Buxton, who plays Gail. Gail is the girl whose sister had been killed. They sort of form this sort of Scooby-Doo-like detective team, and not bad. You got besides John Saxon and Michael Parks, who plays the doctor, you've got Lance LeGault, who plays a reverend in this movie, and he's got a long, rich TV history. Several faces in here you'd probably recognize in terms of just TV. Claudio Simonetti does the score. At times, the criticism is a bit too much creepers in this thing. I'm not sure, but he does do the score. First released on VHS by IVE. Gary F. Bentley heads the special effects. Of course, he had experience with Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, Army of Darkness, Alien Resurrection. So you do have some talent here at work. But I think the gem of this particular release by Kino Lorber is Sam Dagan's film historian commentary. If you want to do a deep dive, if you're just even remotely curious of Italian cinema, Umberto Lenzi, his extensive filmography, much of the commentary is really about giving Lenzi his due in terms of his contribution to cinema overall, going back, to the action, war films, adventure films, gialli, his horror, his haunted house pieces, what he did for TV, what he's done for cinema on the big screen, his part in Italian cinema. It is an incredible sort of a historian deep dive into Lenzi's career. And I'm excited because Sam Dagan, I'm almost positive, has a film historian commentary on the newly released 4K of City of the Living Dead. And if she does anything for this, for Fulci, what she did for Umberto Lenzi on this, I cannot wait to actually just listen to her talk. She was pretty amazing to listen to. And she's done quite a few commentaries. Apparently, I don't have a list of what she's done. But one of her main arguments that Lenzi ought to get main credit for this film is thematically, when you really tear this film apart, a lot of the themes that push this film are Lenzi themes that you see reoccur in a lot of his filmography. And so it's interesting, and even in the end, the comment at the very end, I'll just say this: once you're past the reveal, the resolution, the finality of the film, one of the last scenes, you're on an empty beach. Now, this beach has been jam-packed, crowded for the entirety of the entire film, but in the closing moments of the film, it is an empty beach. Now, you can either take that as, well, spring break is done and the kids have all fled back home, or perhaps everything you've just watched up to that moment is what has caused the emptiness. And so just the point, there's probably a little bit more working under his criticism of institutions in general is very pretty heavy in here. Stryker, who is John Saxon's character, and he's awesome in this movie, and he doesn't probably get as much time as he ought to do, and it really does seem like he gets more than he has. He's just had that persona, John Saxon, but he's culpable in some of this, and the things that he's into, it's just, boy, you're really laying some thick social commentary here. Now, the movie generally on first watch, without knowing any of this, it could be overpassed as just another really super cheesy, independent, low budget Italian fanfare, whatever. But listening to Sam's commentary really opened up a lot of intriguing thoughts into this film. And so I think it's definitely well worth, and it's a shame that Jim Harper didn't think it was worthy of putting in his book. I don't know why he didn't put it in his book. But had he actually, well, this release and commentary could have come out well after his book. So I mean, can't really lay too much blame on him. But maybe the confusion of the direction, and just maybe, I don't know, maybe he didn't think enough of this to put it in the book. Kind of wish he had, though. Kind of wish he had. But definitely, Kino Lorber has done a really good release of this, and like I said, the gem in here is the commentary by film historian Sam Dagan, and so that is almost worth. If you're into Italian cinema and you want to learn more about Italian cinema, it's almost worth having on your shelf just for that. If you're into listening to this kind of stuff. So here in episode 27, Nightmare Beach, I think I'm gonna stay with some aquatic horror for a while. There's a few Italian titles on my shelf that lend itself to aquatic horror, and so I may just stay there for a bit here. We'll see. As always, go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.